Hi again! Welcome to Mooney Makes, and today we're doing another battle, another showdown, some art supplies. I'm gonna duke it out, see which one's better. Now this one is something that a lot of people have done, Copic markers versus Ohuhu. A few months back I did a Canson versus Illo sketchbook tour. I still prefer my Canson. The Illo is cool, it's square, it's pretty. If someone wants to buy me one, I will use it, but I will not go out of my way for it. Unfortunately in that video I made a mistake and I did Copic markers versus Ohuhu, but the Ohuhu markers were water-based. So guess what came in the mail? Got a 40 count alcohol-based Ohuhu marker set. We're going to put it to the test. This will be a true test on the same paper, just the markers versus each other, and then I'll finish it off with a piece that I will color, one with Copics, one with Ohuhu markers, and we'll go from there. Let's take a look at what colors are in this package. So on first review, the package, the carry case is really nice. I gotta say this is better than Copic because Copic just comes either in solo markers or in a hard case that has no handle, and usually doesn't stay closed. And you get a fairly nice array of colors, but I am seeing a lot of pastels and a lot of undertones that are not maybe what I'm looking for. This one is fluorescent. And I know for a fact that I have a Copic color that matches that. I'm gonna focus camera. So I will test that one just to see how the fluorescent colors match up. Definitely gonna do the only red in the bin. Now I need a blue. Let's go for that one. Let's get an orange and a yellow. So we got an orange. That's a fluorescent yellow. So I'm gonna do this one. It's like a goldy yellow, red, orange, yellow. Let's do a green. It's pastel, but I could do a green and a purple. Ooh, this is more purple. Try that one. So I will at least compare these colors to matching colors of, or somewhat matching colors of Copics. To put in perspective how many Copics I have, I'm going to move the camera and you'll just get to look down on them. I don't have that many. I think I have like 50 or so, but they're the ones that I use more often than not. So here we go. So those are all the Copics that I own. It's not very many. Got some grays, blacks, greens, a little bit of everything, but nothing too crazy. Lots of skin tones. Alright, so let me find matching colors. So now I'm going to swatch the corresponding rainbow, and I'm only comparing these two fluorescent oranges because I happen to have the same fluorescent orange in each set. And I have tried to get as close of a color match as I possibly can based on the caps. So not only will we see if the caps match the color that comes out, but we will see if both brands have matching colors. Step one in comparing the colors, I feel like I did pick colors that match pretty well. As far as Copic and Ohuhu go, they definitely are in the same family, but they are different shades. I can say that I feel like the Ohuhu markers are much more opaque. They're not as transparent as Copics are. But our next test is going to be blending, and I'm going to flip over the page and see how much it bled through. Again, this is a Canson, and the last test I did was between Copic alcohol markers and Ohuhu water-based markers. And the water-based markers didn't bleed through, and the Copics bled through a little bit, but not much. So let's see if the Copics and the Ohuhu match as far as bleeding through goes. And I would say that they're pretty even as far as bleeding through, but they did not bleed through on the other page, so there's that. So I am gonna flip it this way to do my blending because I just kind of want to use the same page for this. So let's do red, orange, and yellow. So I'm gonna do the Copics, red, orange, and yellow. Here we go. But that looks pretty nice. So let's try the Ohuhu. And now we're gonna flip it over and try it over here. I feel like I have to use an exponential amount to be able to blend and layer these colors. I also think that the chisel nib adds a level of difficulty that I do not enjoy, and the loss of my brush nib is upsetting, to say the least. That is not the worst blending that I have seen, but I do think that the watercolor ones blend better. I don't feel like these blend as well, but I do feel like if you work at it enough, you should be able to achieve a fairly comparable outcome. What else can I say about these? I think I got this set for maybe 30 bucks for 40 different markers. That in itself is $1 something a marker, whereas Copics are anywhere from $7 to $9 depending on where you get them, if they're on sale, if they're old, if they're new, stuff like that. So I do think that Ohuhu is worth it to have because there are some shades that I feel like I don't already own and would be cheaper to have through Ohuhu. And having the fine tip is nice because then I can do really fine details without having to be as intricate or delicate than with the Copics, because the Copics are chisel and brush nib. So the brush, you can do fine details, but if you're having a weird day where your hands are shaky or you're just tired, it's really hard to keep it fine and not make a big line. So I think the next test would be coloring 2 separate pieces and see how they come out. So now we're going to move on to the actual side-by-side test. I'm going to use this drawing. I've already off camera went and made 2 near identical inkings. I'm not a photocopier, so this is as close as it's going to get. You'll notice the fingers are not the same, the hips are not the same, and I might make this look a little bit more like this. This hand's a little tiny. We're going to ignore that. We're just going to look at how the markers work on each one. Now these are the same type of paper. I'll link it below. These were done with the same micron pigment pens to ink them from the same drawing, so this should be a very good comparison. So this experiment was very rewarding and fun. I got some warm up and practice in. I tried to use the colors, keep the colors as close as possible, but there are Ohuhu colors that I do not have, and there are Copic colors that do not match the Ohuhu colors. So I just did my best. So here is the Ohuhu and the Copic one. Obviously, there are some differences. You can go ahead and list as many differences as you see below. There's like 7 differences that are outright off. So I gotta say, obviously, number one thing, the purples blended better here, but that could just be that these are 2 different shades and it was too hard to blend them. I just felt like I had to work really super hard to get these 2 to blend. The skin tones are nicer. I really like the skin tones for the Ohuhus more than the Copics. I feel like this is lighter and brighter, and this is like muddy. I do love how the blues blended in the eyes, and I love the layering of the brown. I may utilize both of these markers in the future, because if I had my way, honestly, it would be this hair, that top, this skin, those shorts, that hand, those eyes, that mouth, and then it'd be perfect. But this was just to compare them. So here's some pros and cons. So for the Copic markers, my pros would be that there are more colors readily available at local craft stores like Michael's, and you can buy them individually, you can refill them individually, you can mix colors, you can blend easier, and if you buy Sketch, they are bullet or they have chisel nibs and brush nibs. Cons, of course, are the cost. They are $7 to $8 a marker on average, and they don't come in a storage case or practical use case. They come in a hard plastic that's like cumbersome and doesn't click together. And if you want fine liners, bullet nibs, or refills, they do cost extra. Now for the Ohuhu, the pros would be a cost, because they're roughly $1 or less per marker depending on the size of the set that you buy and when you buy them, if they're on sale or not. They come in a carrying case, and that's great. They are very saturated colors. The bullet nib will come in handy for details, and I will say that the chisel nib was quite juicy and easy to fill a paper with. Like it glide across the paper. Cons, of course, are that it only comes in a bullet nib. You do not have the option to get a brush nib. The color palette is limited, more pastel, and it doesn't blend as well. So at the end of the day, I'm going to stick with my Copics. I'll utilize my Ohuhus for broad areas of color that I need to fill or for details that I want, but for the most part, I may be passing these on to someone else. And I'll stick with my Copics. Unfortunately, with art supplies, you do get what you pay for, and that doesn't mean that you can't make something great with something cheaper. It just means that if you want ease of access, you have to pay for it. And as good as Ohuhus are for beginner artists or young artists, and I do recommend them for people, I'm going to stick with my Copics. And that's all I have to say. So if you're into it, they are on Amazon. They're $21 right now for the Ohuhus, and Copic, of course, is online at Michael's. They have their own website. It's on Amazon, and I'm sure you can find some discontinued colors on eBay. But other than that, thank you for making it all the way to the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe below. Leave a comment for the 7 differences in the 2 different drawings. If you found them all, that's great. If not, keep searching, and don't forget you can find me on most social media platforms. I'm going to try to get one more video out before the end of December, but if I don't see you again until the new year, Happy New Year, have a wonderful Christmas, or Happy Holidays, whatever you practice or celebrate, I hope it's wonderful. Okay, bye!